So that was the end of a mad busy day. The last day before I set off on this this road trip, and everything is packed, everything is sorted out, and the car is plugged in. So that's it now. I'm stood under the light, and at this time of year we have many hornets flying around. I don't know if you can catch any of them, maybe not, but they're enormous. So I'm going to go inside and hopefully get some rest and be up early in the morning for a good old journey. See you then. Good morning. We're just getting the car packed up, and we've decided to take the route which is primarily motorway. That's going to be most straightforward, I think, and you know, I'm all for making it easy today. So see you on the road. I've found the first supercharger, and it was a bit of a trek around the car park, but I'm here, I'm parked, and I'm gonna see if I can get this supercharger working. This is a critical moment, because if not, I'm going back home. See you soon. Hello everyone. Well, we've had a right busy few days. So here we are. We're currently at Coppet Hall Beach, which is just the other side of Saundersfoot. So Saundersfoot is just there, and Saundersfoot is where Ava was rowing yesterday for
GB?
Team GB.
Well, the development squad, but still. I had my GB kit on. And hopefully...
Well, it's a development squad because they're putting the squad together for the World Championships next year.
Yep.
And getting the sport really going. So anyway, it was a really fun day. We did a bit of filming, and then the SD card decided to have a brain fart and delete all the stuff, so that was awesome.
Hopefully we can put in some of the footage from our phones and
exactly. Eva's going to do some video editing wizarding and assemble something. So what's on the board for the rest of this week? We're travelling back up to Manchester now when we finish here. And then this week we've got such a busy week, but the other thing is that we're onboarding a new team member, and so hopefully you'll get to meet her and find out a little bit more about her. And what else is happening? You're starting university soon.
Yeah, soon. So, well, I'm not doing that much prep for it. Maybe it's a conversion course in psychology, so I'm going on to the dark side, maybe dark side, light side, or probably the good side.
Crossing into the light.
Crossing into the light, let's use that one. And then I'm going to go into sports psychology. But yeah, comment below if you've got any tips for starting out in psychology, like
yes.
if you remember, like, or if you've studied recently, or if you remember what your studies were like, let me know. And yeah,
she's got 3 years of first degree to catch up on now.
Yeah, 3 years of first degree in 1 year, so yeah. It's going to be an interesting year.
Oh, and tomorrow, that's the other thing that we've got to get on and organise, as we're driving up through Wales today, which is tomorrow we have the first community session on creating regenerative psychology practices. And when you look at a kind of environment like this, and yeah, you know, it's one of the most important things I think that we can be looking at as psychologists, which is how we create, not just how we go beyond sustainability and actually look at practices that restore and regenerate us as practitioners, our clients, the communities and societies around us, and also our local and global environment. So we'll let you know how that goes.
Yeah, and if you can't make it to this one, we're going to be doing them at least bi-monthly, so every other month, and all of them will be on this YouTube channel as well, so you'll be able to watch them back. And then if you enjoy it and want to get involved, please join us, because we want to get as many people involved. And it's going to be super cool, super inspiring. So
see you then. We'll let you know how the trip goes, no doubt. See you soon.
Hello. So we're just stopping to charge the Tesla, and realised we haven't really spoken in this vlog since last weekend when we were in Wales for the beach sprints. So I thought I'd just give you a bit of a lowdown of what we've been up to this week. On Monday we had the community event, which should be on our YouTube channel as well, and I think we're going to be doing them monthly because everyone really enjoyed it, and it was just a really cool concept and people really buying into it. So yeah, keep an eye out for that. And then it's just been a week of getting ready for our launch of the Psychology Practice Accelerator, which is launching on this year's cohort is starting on the 20th of September. And then Wendy had some coaching and some training in IFS as well. And now we're just driving down the length of France. So I think we've got an 11-hour day of driving, of road tripping, which is actually quite nice in the Tesla, as you can imagine. So yeah, this vlog was a bit more about road tripping and some social things that we've been up to recently alongside our private practice. And also then later this week we're going to have a meeting with Leanne, our new team member, and then giving you some insights and tips on how to onboard a new team member, so keep an eye out for that. But otherwise, yeah, back on the road, give you some French scenery, and speak to you later.
Welcome to the boardroom of Inspiring Psychology Practices. This is quite a fancy boardroom really for us, isn't it?
Yes, it's very nice.
It's got a nice view. They might not be able to see that in the editing.
Yeah.
But...
The view out of that window is amazing.
Oh goodness. Welcome to our viewers on this chat about onboarding a new team member, and welcome also, hang on, this way, welcome also to our new team member.
Hello.
Which is my best friend from forever ago, Leanne Broadley, who is joining us to help out with
Hello.
Well, to help us out and to help our customers out, because you're a specialist in customer experience, and that's your thing, and helping businesses help their customers, especially through the tech side of the business. So thanks for coming on board with us.
Thank you for having me.
So what we wanted to do in this chat is talk a little bit about what helps when it comes to onboarding new team members. Now, obviously, you and I have known one another for 35 years.
Yeah.
And yet that was still a topic of conversation. So whether you don't know somebody or whether you do know somebody, having a conversation about what the working relationship is going to look like is nevertheless still really important. And that was something that you raised with me when we started talking about you joining.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I did, because you know, we don't want to spoil our friendship, do we?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, we want to make sure we've got some boundaries, and that the boundaries are set, and we can bring up things if we're uncomfortable both ways, and that you know, them things can be discussed, because you know, working together in a professional capacity is something very new, isn't it? So it's water we haven't treaded before.
But Leanne, going back to our conversation, which was quite a bit earlier this year, I seem to remember, where we started talking about this, just as Ava and I were kind of scaling up the business and getting it onto Ontraport and things like that. You and I started talking about, and these are two kind of top things at the top of my list. One was onboarding people. I think it's important to onboard people with the ethos and the purpose, and also to get an alignment on aspirations, like what you both are looking for.
Yeah.
And that was some of our early conversations. What do you remember about that?
Yeah, just chatting really about what it is. I mean, it came, we were chatting in general, weren't we, on just a personal call. And I mentioned something about work, and you just said, "Oh," I think you had a bit of a light bulb moment, didn't you? You went, "Oh," and I think it hadn't really come from anywhere other than very naturally in that conversation. I've got an idea here. You could possibly come and help us, you know. And you were thinking ahead then. Ava's going to be starting this university course in September, but I've also got this, you know, this starting, you know, so. Yeah, I think that's where that sort of seed came from, and it get planted there, and we then started to discuss what it is I could possibly do, drawing on my strengths, which you know I have because we know each other personally, but then me explaining to you what I've done a bit more in depth in my previous jobs, and what my strengths and what my weaknesses were in them jobs, and how we could fit that into me working with yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And one of the things that I remember us having a discussion about, which I think is really important, we're a very purpose-driven business. I think there were elements of that you felt aligned with as well.
I did, yeah. That interests me because it's meaningful. It feels meaningful. And sometimes you can do work and it just doesn't feel like it's really got a bigger purpose, and this definitely did resonate with me because of that. You know, working in the past for the BPNA, it always felt like it meant something, you know, so that's a similar feeling with yourself.
I think one of the things I really discovered about you and your strengths is how well and how quickly and how thoroughly you learn systems. Like you're a real systems person.
I don't know where that's come from. I really don't.
It's there though. It's amazing. I love it.
I think perhaps because when I joined the BPNA, I hadn't worked for many years. Really, I'd done the beauty therapy and stuff while I was having my babies and my children. So then going into a different job, and I had to learn all these new systems there very quickly. And they weren't particularly good systems either. They were quite old. So getting your head around an older system, which doesn't, you know, it's not got all the singing and dancing stuff of these new things, was quite challenging. And then I would literally just, if you'd ask other people in the office and they weren't sure, so I'd Google everything. I'd Google. Google is, you know, is your answer. Google, how do you do this in Excel? I'd Google it. I'd get a little demo on, and I'd just teach myself quickly. And by the end of it, I'd be teaching people in the office how to operate shortcuts in Word and Excel and how to do this and how to do that. And I literally just Googled it all. You know, you can find the answers out there. I think when you use something over and over again as well, you know, it becomes second nature, doesn't it?
So, I mean, onboarding with the ethos and the purpose, aligning aspirations. I know you and I talked a lot about how important it was for us to have a sense of meaning and purpose. So that was the aligning of the aspirations, and then just also in very pragmatic terms, like what would that look like? You know, would it be this? Would it be? You know, how would it be? You know, would it be this many hours? How would it fit with other things?
Yeah.
What would it look like? What could you help with, and so on. So getting, I mean, the clearer that we are about those things, I think the better it works.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and I think that'll also be a work in progress, won't it? As you move on, you'll be like, oh right, yeah, we can do this, or we can't do that, or you know, being flexible, trying to just go with the flow as well with a brand new thing like this for me is good. Sitting in the meetings I've done with you girls and just listening to how you work and what you're talking about helps, because even though you've told me what you do, until I'm actually immersed in it, I won't completely understand it. So that's helped. Having a look on Entreport, like I said before, that really helped. Putting together that little document and you girls then putting times in and things like that gives me a clearer picture on what it is you're going to do. That's all been helpful.
I've been reflecting on that recently as well, because I think I've probably been integrated within the IPP business for just over a year now. So I was just reflecting how a year ago, like every single meeting we had, every single new task we did, I just got clearer and clearer about what was the business about and all the details of it and all the nuances. And now, a year on, I feel like I've got a better grasp of that, and I can input, or that's why I may be shifting a bit more towards content creation, because I've got that that understanding now. But so having even if team members aren't doing content creation, or in my case I wasn't doing any of the coaching, it was important to have those meetings where we talk about it.
Because if you were in a physical workplace, you would all be in an office hearing this sort of stuff go on, wouldn't you? You'd hear people talk about what they do. They would interact with you on what their responsibilities are. So I think especially working in different places and doing virtual meetings, it's very important to maybe sometimes be in a meeting that isn't necessarily for you to have a task. You know, you listening to, especially in the beginning when you're starting out with somebody, I find that, you know, useful, listening to you girls just talk about what you're going to do.
And the kind of questions we ask and don't ask, and then you come in and ask us something and we're like, oh yeah, we do need to be clearer about that, don't we? On that topic, actually, the third thing I had down is I wrote down that the roles are clear. It's really useful when the roles are clear, but I think Leanne, you raised, and you as well, Ava, have raised a really important point there, which is like there has to be good enough clarity to move forward. But you're not necessarily at a perfect state of clarity, because you're still figuring things out as the business grows.
It's not like you've put a job advert out for somebody, you see. This is sort of a role that's just, it's a seedling, and it's sort of being nurtured and growing into something, which is the opposite way to where I suppose a lot of people would apply for a job that's really structured, you know, which is good, but it means just communicating and keep talking about what our expectations are from one another. And what the ideas, like we said, saying, what about this, what about that? Discussing things and communicating.
And I think that's very true of where we're at as a business, which is, you know, we're still in almost like startup phase. I mean, so as we and we're you know, now automating and systematizing a lot more, and kind of in that early phase of scaling up. And so that's very common in startup type environments, that you need to have a lot more flexibility, that people are they're on board with the ethos, the purpose, the aspirations, the direction that we're going in, but it's a bit like improv then. There's still an element of needing
drama.
It's drama, darling.
There's probably a lot of psychologists in private practice who it's exactly the same. None of them have had, well, maybe a lot of startups as well won't necessarily have business degrees. They'll have a good idea and be an expert in something. And they also, almost imagine your private practice as being a startup, and following that flexibility and curiosity and growth.
I think curiosity and growth mindset are like really central to that as well. So I mean, in the roles though, Ava, you touched on something earlier, which is about how your role is also shifting, and I think this is something to be really mindful of, because we're not setting in stone like a job description with, you know, all of these things. Like, we've got an idea. No, we've got more than an idea. We've got things that you know, Leanne's going to work on and kind of handle, and then there'll be ongoing discussions as the business kind of grows and so on. But the impact of bringing someone into a team is that the other team roles shift. That's the point. So, you know, we're bringing someone into the business to help because there are things that need our attention more than this. But this is still really important. It needs someone to look after it. So my role is changing, Ava's role is changing, and you, as you are coming in,
of course,
look at roles overall.
Definitely.
I think the other thing on a technical point of view is making the terms and conditions clear. So I think, especially, well, with anyone really, but when you're working together, that we need to be clear about, you know, how many hours is that going to take? How much effort is it going to take? What resources are you going to need? And how are we going to pay you? So, and then how's that going to evolve? Because that's the stuff that gets really sticky when people start to wonder if there's clarity on, am I being taken advantage of here in one direction or the other? You know, that's the thing that undermines kind of teams, really. And then 3 last things, which I think go together. I think one is working on some of the early wins. And obviously earlier this week, we had a meeting about, you know, the stuff that is really important that's coming up soon and that you can really help us to nail. So it's clarity on those early wins. And then the last 2, which are like the heart of this, which really build capacity in the business and are really important when you're scaling up a business and bringing people in so that you can grow your business, is reviewing what's happened, looking for where you can improve it, and recording how you do things.
Definitely.
And this is something so you've been doing, I know you've talked to me about some of this stuff and I know you're on board with it, but just say a few words about that as well.
Well, you learn from it then, don't you? You need to, especially when things are new, you need to reflect on what worked and what didn't work and what you'd do different next time, you know. I think you can always do that in any sort of project you're doing, and eventually you get this sort of great template for working from, don't you? So,
okay, I don't know if Ava, do you have any additional things? Leanne, do you have any additional things you think I've not covered?
No, I think we've covered a lot there. It's been, you know, you get, I think knowing you has helped, because we can have these more honest conversations. They should be just as important when you don't know somebody, but sometimes that gets in the way, doesn't it? You know, the fear of saying what you actually want or need. And it's been great. And like I say, both of you have been inclusive with me, including me in this, you know, new venture. And yeah, I feel good about it. I feel positive. It's going to be good. We're going to
Awesome.
learn a lot, you know, and it's going to be good. I'm excited.
Cool. And we will see you soon with another episode from IPP, from Inspiring Psychology Practices. Take care, everybody. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Hey, yo.